Music matters. So we were just talking about the price of weed in California versus other states.
Yeah, horrible.
Great way
right
to
now.
start the pod. Wait, so you're saying, okay, so I'm confused though, because I don't really smoke like that, but so I'm confused why it's more expensive or why the taxes on weed in California is so much higher than other states. Is it just to limit the amount of people? Like, what is the goal
I
of
think it's
that?
because we pay.
Yeah.
Like, long story short, is because we still will pay for it. California is known for being high taxed on everything. Like our gas, we have the most expensive gas, and if you Google it, the reason is because of the amount of taxes. That's the only reason the California gas is more expensive than the rest of the country.
That's always a thing. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it's a thing from like generations above us. I feel like always talking about like, oh, like the price of gas is so expensive now. And I mean, like, totally is, but like, it's weird because I feel like I always try to tackle that question like logically, right? I'm like, why is it? And I have no fucking idea. Like I don't know how they determine the price of gas. Like, there's got to be so many variables and factors, right?
They determine. I feel that they invent reasons to make their reasons make sense, but it's mostly like because they want to. It's an imaginary number.
Yeah.
They decide to. It's not like the gas here is incredibly better than the gas on the next state.
Yeah.
It's just one of the reasons that right now we have a big hike in gas is because of what Gavin Newsom's been doing. But it's a lot of people before him have been doing it well. California always had like more expensive gas than the rest of the country.
Yeah, it's weird too, because it's funny. I never paid attention to the price of gas until like everybody started talking about it going up. Like, I remember when, like, maybe like, you know, like a year ago or whatever, when it like started getting really expensive, everybody was like talking about like, oh, like gas now, it's incomprehensible how expensive it's become. And I would kind of watch it go up, but then I realized I was like, I don't really know what gas was before this, because I never paid attention. Like, I was never like looking at the price of gas, you know. It's weird too, because my brother talks about this a lot. He always says like, why do we even care about the price of gas, or why do we talk about the price of gas? Because we're gonna buy it. Yeah. Like, no matter what. Like, how expensive do you think gas would have to be for you to not drive?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, it's a low bar. Gas past the $7, I'm at home.
Really?
Yeah. Or just talk to the home. Hey, let's chip in or something, because I'm not just taking joy rides at $7 a gallon.
Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, that's totally valid. I guess when gas was like that expensive, it's gone down a little bit, but when it was like at $7 or whatever, like $6.50, I definitely was like considering the way that I drove more, or like not the way, but like the frequency that I drove at. Like, before that, I never really was like conservative or like of how much I was driving. I was never really like thinking about it, you know? Yeah. And then it was like, I specifically remember actually that when it hit 7, when I lived in the Bay Area, I went to a lot less concerts for like 2 months, or like a month and a half, because I was pretty concerned about how expensive it was. I wasn't doing good on money at the time. And I specifically remember, because it was like, I grew up in this place called Concord, which is like 35 minutes east of San Francisco. So to drive to most of the shows I was going to, I'd either drive like 25 minutes to Oakland or like 35, 40 minutes to the city. So it was like, I remember when gas got super expensive, I was like overly concerned with like how many shows I was going to. It was a weird thing. But yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to like just not drive.
Yeah, it's like going to your job and shit, it's kind of fuck it.
Yeah.
You have to take
You have to. That's what I mean. Yeah.
I was just in a lucky position that when gas was going up, I could stay at home. So I just stayed it. I saw everybody complaining. I was like, fuck, bro, I'm chilling. I don't have to go nowhere.
I realized in LA, like, it's so difficult to not have a car here.
Impossible.
Like, because public transit sucks, dude.
It's easier to get a piece of shit car than just be Ubering everywhere. And public transportation is not going to get you nowhere in time. You have to leave like hours before. Yeah,
dude, I know. When I was in New York, I like fully, like, it was mind blowing.
It's heaven
by the subway system. It was crazy. I had never because that was my first time going. I'd never experienced anything like it. Because, you know, you hear about it or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, I went and I realized why it's so hyper efficient. It's like the entire city is built around the subway system. It's so cool. And I don't know, it makes me think, like, why can't LA do something like that?
I think because they don't want to redirect the money towards, like, look at our homeless problem that we have right now. Yeah. Like, it's only getting worse. And the state is doing nothing like to stop. We lifted the the eviction thing, the rent control thing, as well. And I think this is the year that California has evicted people the most in history. And look at how downtown LA is right now. Look how Venice is right now. It's like it always had homeless people, but it's crowded. Skid Row, it's like it's overflowing.
Yeah.
And politicians got all the money, they ain't doing nothing, bro.
It's so strange, dude, because it's like homelessness is one of those things too where it's like it's difficult to like talk about because I don't know I don't know how to fix it. You know, it's like one of those things that's so far above like the average person. It's like I don't know how we'd fix homelessness. I feel like it's so it's like one of those issues that is like created by a million different issues. You know, it's like it's almost like to create. It's like homelessness would get better, or at least get a little bit better if there were all these other issues that were eliminated. Like I think the opioid crisis plays a gigantic role in homelessness. I think like what you were just talking about, like renters not having rent control and like landlords being able to like gauge their prices at whatever they want, that plays into it. I think like like lack of affordable housing obviously pays into it. I think like it's a million issues that like funnel into one bigger thing.
Yeah, and the fact that California keeps getting more popular, people keep coming out here, and they don't realize that, it's hard to survive here. It's really hard to pay rent here. If you don't have a good support system, or if you don't have, like, good income, it's so fucking hard to stay here.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I've been here for, like, this is my 10th year out here, and I've seen friends come and go, and unfortunately, most of the times it's financial situation.
Yeah. Because
they ain't trying to go homeless. They go back to their parents' house type shit.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that today as I drove to work. I was thinking about, like, if whenever I stop living at this house or whatever, would I go home for, like, a period of time and then come back to L.A.? Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about it because it was something I had never really considered. But it is, I heard a story of a friend recently who, like, he was from, like, a state in the Midwest, and he had to go back, kind of earn some money and then come back to L.A. And that made me think, I'm like, dude, living in L.A. is, like, for a lot of kids, I feel like, that don't go to school and they come here to pursue art, it becomes their form of college in a weird way. It's like where they're getting away from their parents to like learn about the world. It's in a very different fashion, but it's one that's a lot more dangerous in a lot of regards because it's like there's no control there. Yep. So it's like a lot of the times I feel like I think there's a million scenarios where I could have gotten super, super unlucky when I first moved here and then just been screwed and had to go back and move in with my parents, but that's the fear.
Yeah, no, it's LA. It's playing on hard mode. Like it feels when you get here, it doesn't feel that hard, and then out of nowhere it just flips. Yeah. Especially when you realize that, rent just takes most of my income because jobs. When you move to LA, just trying to get a job while you pursue your art, none of these jobs pay enough for you to pay rent. So you have to share your apartment with 7,000 people. Yeah. And the amount of crazy people in LA, bro. I had some crazy roommates in my lifetime.
How long have you lived here? You said 10 years?
10 years.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Did you move here to pursue art originally? So you moved here when you were 18?
Yeah.
Wow. From where?
Brazil.
Oh, so that's crazy. So your first impression of America was LA?
Yeah, my first adult impression, yes. It's because I was born here. I was born in New York. But my parents moved back to Brazil when I was 2. So I was raised basically in Brazil. And Brazil has, at least at the time I was growing up, had a very Americanized view of how the very movie-like view of how America is. Like
the American dream. Yeah,
no, it's so different when you come out here. Yeah, and I came out here on a mistake. When I was graduating high school, I used to dance a thing called free step, which is a form of electronic dance that was very popular in Brazil back then. And NYU had somebody in NYU had reached out to me saying they could give a scholarship, they could help me with that because they saw the video and they saw potential in the directing course they had at Tisch. My dumbass just moved to save money, moved to New York instead of trying to pursue and get more data on that. And I got there, and I was still missing like $50,000, bro. I couldn't do it.
So he'd over-exaggerated how much money he was going to give you?
No, they gave me a big scholarship. It's just I was like just turned 18. I have no idea how much college costed in America. Yeah. So I was in New York, sleeping, I think at my sister's apartment, and then I went to a friend's apartment, and then I was gonna go to Full Sail Academy in Florida because somebody in Full Sail had approached to me, and 60 days before moving there, I had a college called New York Film Academy that approached me for the same videos, and they offered me a higher scholarship. They helped with housing, get discount in housing for the first year, and it helped a lot. And I stayed.
What were the videos that you were putting out that you were getting approached for? You said they were videos of you dancing, so you first got into dance before you did music?
You want me to pull up?
Yeah, totally.
I used to dance electronic. You're gonna see it's so hard for me to explain what it is. But
is it like specifically Brazilian?
It got popular in Brazil like so many years ago. Like if you see, these years are 11 years old.
Yeah.
But in America, they have like variations, like the shuffle movement in America.
Okay.
How they use their own steps is a little bit like free step, or cutting shapes reminds a lot of Revelation of free step. But you can skip like the first like 10 seconds because it's just me credits and shit.
Whoa. It's like for honestly, I'll just have you send me this and we can put it on the screen.
Yeah.
But for the audio people, it's very like, it's like free movement of the legs. Like it's very that is very interesting.
That's what we call free step.
So it's like solely focused in the legs then?
Yes.
Oh, whoa.
You can do arm stuff, but it's mostly legs.
That's crazy. So you said there was like a whole movement of this in Brazil, and how old were you when that was happening?
Oh, it started when I was really young, but I got into it when I was 12, 13, and I was big into it until 17. The community in São Paulo was really big, but I moved in Rio in between my when I was a teenager, and Rio had like a tiny community. I think I was the guy who started the Facebook group of Free Step Rio.
Wow, okay.
I didn't moderate it because, of course, the people that were more active online, I was like, yo, this is y'all's.
Yeah.
But if I check my Facebook, probably still on it.
That's so wild. So why did you end up moving to the States if there was like a bigger community for it in Brazil?
Oh, that type of dance don't give you no job, but like you cannot make a career out of it. My mom is a ballerina, like a classic ballerina.
Yeah.
And she always explained me her whole life how difficult was financially for her, especially in her.
My cousin's
years.
a dancer, yeah.
It's if you don't have like the connects, it's incredibly hard. And I didn't want to be like a full-time dancer. I had like. My passion was always trying to create either sonically or visually what goes on in my head. Random skits, ideas, just random shit.
Yeah.
And when I came to LA initially was for film. And film was like at film school was a great way to express myself. I could do everything that I imagined, even if it was like gory or stupid. Teachers would just take it because it's my interpretation.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they would roast the fuck out of you, bro.
Really?
They would.
Yeah, but like when you I don't know. I talked to my roommate about this a lot. He had a choir teacher when we were in high school that would always tell him like how untraditional his singing voice was, as if that's like a bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like art is one of those things, and it's like I don't know how much it can be taught. And I think it is valuable to learn like the history of different art forms, right? I totally think that's valuable. And then I think it's even valuable, you know, if you're doing something like photography, to even know things like the rule of thirds or the 180 rule or stuff like that. It's like obviously things like that matter, of course, like those are the fundamentals, but it's like I think now it's a lot cheaper and a lot easier and a lot faster way to do so is just do it on YouTube or to teach yourself on the internet, you know? And it's like you kind of cut through the fat that way. Like you're only learning the shit that you know is going to be valuable for you.
There's so many, like I love the connections that I made in school when I was in film school. I love the people that I met. I love especially some teachers that were really harsh, but in a right way. They knew how to criticize, like tell you what's wrong and how to get it better. But I feel that like right now, it feel like you're young and you don't want to put like almost $100K financial burden on your parents.
Yeah.
Bro, there's so many YouTubers. There's this whole wave called the new wave of YouTube.
Yes, dude. Yes, yes, dude. I love.
Bro.
That's crazy that you just brought up the new YouTube wave. I work for a production company called Live 2. Shout out to Live 2. But who I work with, his name's McLean, and he always references the YouTube new wave and like all these young filmmakers that are doing like incredible documentary work on YouTube. It's so cool, dude. I really want to get like a lot of those people working with Above the Bridge eventually. That's like one of my goals because that is something that, oh, you're so right. It's so fascinating to me because it's almost like you see like old documentary and like filmmaking and like the way that it evolved without the internet. It was so slow. But it's like now it's interesting to me when you kind of translate that documentary format and it's something that's so real time because it's like we were doing vlogs in like 2012 and it's like these are the same kids that wanted to make vlogs but then they just grew up and found a more cinematic and like artful way to do it. It's so interesting, dude.
No, it's great. I love how it looks. I love how the different approaches they take, their homages, their tributes.
Yeah.
Like I feel it's more freeing. Like film schools are great. Yeah, especially if you're a foreign student trying to have your opportunity in America. Film schools are a great accessible way for you to have like 2-3 years in America, get an OPT, work for another year and make connections. But if you're here in America and you don't want to spend money, you're born in America, bro, YouTube, Vimeo, there's so much accessible teaching about filmmaking. And instead of paying like almost $100,000 to test equipment, rent it yourself, watch some tutorials. You can rent better camera, you can hire crew, which creates jobs and makes you connections because you go on a website like mandy.com or even Facebook, there's so many gigs and you can create those gigs for cheap. Just do the minimum that your state or your country says, and California's a little expensive, but you can do it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of cool opportunities for filmmakers right now with things like Shirley Work. Do you know what Shirley Work is?
What?
Shirley Work is like this platform that's new that I've been kind of keeping an eye on. It's really, really sick. It's like pretty much an Instagram-based platform. They also have a website, but it's just like essentially like a job board, like a filmmaking music industry job board. And I wasn't really aware of those until Shirley Work, but then I looked it up, and there's a whole bunch of them. Like there's a ton of just job boards like that because like so many people need that. You know, it's like it's very difficult because it's not the kind of thing that you can just openly apply for, you know. But it's something that like I think it's worth it to struggle with it for a long time because I think it's fucked to say, but it's like I do think there is something that comes out of like struggling a long time to make your art. I think it eventually teaches you to like appreciate what it means to be hungry, and it eventually teaches you to like appreciate what it is that you're creating. You know, it's like I don't think you can make like that's not true. Let me rephrase that. I think a lot of good art comes out of pain, like a lot. You know,
an insane amount. That's why a lot of people like the whole Bryson Tiller fan base asking him to break up so he makes better music.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but damn. Why they being honest about that? Y'all have he's good music already. If you don't like his like engaged relationship music, there's people that do, you know.
Yeah like I remember when Kanye and Kim got divorced, everybody was saying like, damn, Kanye's about to make the hardest album of the past 10 years. It's funny, it's sad, but it's like there is a reality that like so much pain creates incredible art, especially in music, man. I think like I've always been drawn to like untraditional vocalists and like people who their voices are so expressive that where you can really, really hear the pain or hear the happiness or hear the love in their voice. I think there's something that's so specific about like the way that you can kind of pick up on emotions through somebody's singing voice. Have you heard From a Forever Ago by Bon Iver?
I've heard of Bon Iver, but I don't know if I've heard this song specifically.
Yeah, so that's his first album, and he made that in Wisconsin in a cabin after his like girlfriend of like 6 or 7 years had broke up with him, and he had like lost his job, and he was in this utterless depression, and he was in a band for years before that was pretty successful, and the band had like broken up over like some conflicts, and he lost everything in like a span, and then I think his mom died.
Fuck.
And it was within a span of like a couple months, so he just hit this utterless depressed state, and he kind of retreated to this cabin in Wisconsin, and he wrote this record literally just on his laptop with an acoustic guitar and like one mic. That was like all he recorded the record with, but it's one of the most like depressing but powerful albums I think I've ever heard, and it's because of like that very specific state of mind that he was in when he wrote it.
And that you cannot buy, it just happens to you, and he transformed his pain to art.
Yeah. 100%. What filmmaking were you like first interested in when you kind of got into it? Like what kind of stuff were you trying to make?
I liked a lot what Edgar Wright does, because Edgar Wright is very intelligent with lateral filmmaking, side-to-side filmmaking, showing your left and right, showing decisions through left and right movement. And his comedy is very subtle, but it's so good. Shaun of the Dead is like my desert island film. Like if I was stuck in a desert island with a DVD player in one movie, Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is like not the greatest movie of all time,
Uh-huh.
but it's a movie that I'll never get tired of watching.
Yeah.
And
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And I've watched it 100 times, and I always notice something new or forget that something happened.
Yeah.
It's great for me.
Do you think you're more interested in the storytelling aspect or the cinematography and the technical aspect?
I feel it's a little bit of both because the story's kind of ass.
Mm-hmm.
The story's kind of it has heart, like it has a lesson behind it because Simon Pegg's character is just a piece of shit, and it takes a whole apocalypse for him to kind of notice that.
Yeah.
But Edgar Wright always tells like stories in a really assholey way, like Baby Driver, for example.
Yeah.
It's that, or I forgot the name of the movie that him is at the bar, like at the World's End or something like that.
I'm not sure.
Like it's a movie with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and they need to drink. They are childhood friends, and they want to drink in every single bar at this like mile beer run.
Mario, do you know it?
At the World's End, yeah.
I knew he would know it.
And it's like they get attacked by like some robot aliens. I forgot what it is because I watched it so long ago, but that shit was so funny.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it. Yeah.
I think it's cool when like a movie makes that big of an impact on you when you're a kid that you think about it like forever. Like that's the coolest shit to me.
That movie is in the Stone Age, or in English it's just it's like I think 4 uppercase R's, 3 lowercase R's, and a bunch of like exclamation marks because it's a French movie about like cavemen and the first murder, like how humans discover murder. And it's such a dumb movie. Like every character is called Pierre or Peter, depending on the translation. And the Brazilian Portuguese dub is so fucking funny. It's so dumb. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that criticizes a lot of things that still happen nowadays, like about like people overusing their power, about lying to close friends, about like little mistakes, how it becomes like something that snowballs and snowballs and snowballs.
Dude, I think there's something to be said about really, really dumb pieces of art. And I feel like I hate people who are too pretentious to enjoy pieces of art that are meant to be silly. Mm-hmm. Like pieces of art that are like intentionally stupid, intentionally dumb, but like still have such like a real or like meaningful quality to them. It's like I hate when people act like they're above that stuff or just above music in general. Like one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say they hate pop music. It's like half of what you like is pop music, or people say they like hate country, or they say they hate folk, or they say they hate rap, or whatever it is. It's like, how can you just fully hate one genre of music? You know what I mean? When there's so many things that come from it. Yeah. It feels pretentious to me. It's so silly.
It feels ignorant on a point that is like willful ignorance.
Yeah.
Like you're choosing to be ignorant out of spite, out of immaturity. Like, you had this one interaction that made you hate R&B, and now you don't like R&B, or you hate hip hop, or you hate rock. Like in LA, there's a lot of like artists or engineers or like people that work with music that are really good at a genre, and you can see them doing well in another genre, but they just hate the other genre for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so much of what hate is in general, though. I think like most hate is ignorance. I think like the idea that like, for example, like you said, like blanket state hating anything, like people who hate like a kind of person, or people who hate like a kind of art, or hate like a kind of whatever, you know, it's like blanket statement hating an entire group of people is like just point blank period ignorant, you know, it's silly. And I don't know, I think that's what like a lot of hate is born out of, is just ignorance. It's like a lack of experience with something, so you just don't like it. Mm-hmm. Or it's like our opinion on something comes from like what we heard or what we were told, not like what we've seen in our own experience, you know? Yeah. It's silly. I heard something recently that really stuck with me. I had a friend, my friend Jody said this, and he said, all art that you consume impacts your art in some way, even if the art's of like a different medium. That's making me think about you a lot, because you said like, you know, you did dance, you did film, and now it's somehow translated into this music world. How do you think like the art that you've created in the past and like these different forms of art have impacted your music?
Oh, a lot, because like even the song that was playing on the Freestep video, it's highly distorted, high BPM, a lot of kicks, and that's my music right now. Mm-hmm. That's literally my music right now. Distorted, high BPM, kicks, a lot of energy. So definitely that influence, like the whole psytrance and the distorted trance movement in Brazil was really impactful for me as a teenager.
Why? What's that movement about?
It was at the time I was just discovering SoundCloud. I was just discovering, especially YouTube. I was finally knowing how to navigate YouTube after so many years. Friends were posting their own stuff, so they were teaching me, hey, when I find channels like me, do this, or check the recommended bar, but scroll all the way to the end and let it refresh or let it load more. And those are the actual recommendations. They show me how
Whoa, that's interesting.
Yeah, how to search tags, how to. I had friends that put me in a great direction back then.
Yeah.
Because they just saw that I was interested more than just dancing. I just didn't have the information, and they were great enough to give it to me.
That's like some really, really deep internet shit, dude. I think about that all the time. Do you feel like you were raised by the internet as a kid? Because I feel like I was really raised by the internet.
Hell yeah, we got dial up when I was 5, and my mom used to give my sister and I 30 minutes each.
No way.
Yeah, because my mom couldn't use the telephone, so we couldn't get any bills, calls, or any. My dad couldn't call home when he was out because we were like playing some dumb games.
Yeah.
So we have like each one had I think an hour or something the computer, but 30 minutes of internet. And I remember that I found places like Adventure Quest, Miniclip, RuneScape, PokePlus.net. There were so many small niche little areas of the internet that I could find on those 30 minutes. I was so young, so I was doing as fast as possible.
How were you finding those things? Just like were you hearing about it from friends, or like just blindly searching for them?
I feel that in Brazil we had two forms of their own Brazilian Google, but the best one was a website called Curated. Curated was like Google but unfiltered, no ads, no nothing, because they were, I don't know what was Curated's deal, and you could find so many. You're like,
wow.
Games with guns that shoot yellow bullets. They would somehow find it. That's how I stumbled upon Newgrounds, because somebody was talking about Salad Fingers, I think, at the time.
Oh, Salad Fingers is a crazy early internet thing.
Yeah, and they couldn't remember the name, or it was ASDF movie, something like that.
Oh, that's another one, yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't remember the name, but they remembered that it was a website that had a tank on the logo.
Yeah.
And it was like, website animation with tank. We found Newgrounds. Or like website that you can play online games that the logo is the ant congregate.
That's crazy. It was like ChatGPT before ChatGPT.
And Neopets Forum, you could, as a child pretending to be a 13-year-old and older, you could learn a lot about the internet. Unfortunately, also about like the LOL Shock website.
Yeah. I've always like wanted to like go back just for a week and just experience all those old facets of the internet. Like, do you remember Webkins?
Wait, Webkins? I was a Neopets person. I know Webkins.
Oh yeah,
existed,
same vibe, right?
Webkins was inaccessible in Brazil because you had to buy the little thing.
Right? Yeah.
In Brazil, it was the importation tax was like above like 400 or 600%, something like that. So it was inaccessible.
Yeah. Did you ever play Club Penguin?
Club Penguin, I played. Remember how they let you have the free version, like limited account?
Yeah.
Habbo Hotel limited account type stuff. When I was a child, I used to play those. But when I started paying for games, I went to games like Ragnarok Online.
Interesting.
Online was my shit. Grand Chase, Gunbound Online.
Those are those like RuneScape-esque? Because I'm familiar with RuneScape, but not those.
Ragnarok Online is a South Korean MMORPG.
Okay.
One of the first of its kind that had the formula of you pay for the amount of hours that your account is allowed to play. So you would pay by a week of gaming, 12 hours of gaming. Level Up Games, the company that distributed Ragnarok Online in Brazil, they knew how to make bread out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of a genius model. Are there still games like that? I've never heard of that.
Nowadays they don't survive. Nowadays, because microtransactions and cosmetics make so much more bread.
Yeah, dude, I think about that all the time. That's crazy. Like, if you can get somebody addicted to like CS:GO is the best example of this. It's like if you can get somebody addicted to like the gambling aspect or like the chasing aspect of like real money in your game. It's like they've almost like invented like a, not like invented currency, but like there's like an internal currency within like that world, which is freaking crazy to me. Like the idea, I've heard people spending like upwards of $1,000 on like CS:GO skins and stuff, because I guess that is like how you make the money now. It's like the microtransactions within the video games.
I used to play League of Legends back in season 2, and whenever I played for a while, and I don't remember when. I think it was after they released Zac or a little before. They had a League of Legends All Stars, a 1v1 mode. It had this whole lava scenario. In Brazil, it was very popular for you to go on Orkut. Orkut, it was like old social media, or on Facebook even, because Facebook was pretty popular at the time, and find people to 1v1. And
Interesting.
one of the Riot's moderators, which I shall not name, had a 1v1 with me when I was streaming back in when Twitch was not monetizable.
Yeah.
And he lost, and he felt that, and he felt, even though I did not troll him, he felt humiliated, and he motherfucker banned me for like a week, and I lost a bunch of good behavior legacy skins.
Oh, dude, I forgot about the good behavior shit. That was crazy when games used to do that. You get rewarded for good behavior. It's like you're in prison. Mm-hmm. That was such like a deep internet bull too. That's crazy.
There's some games that still do it. Like I've been playing Smite for like 11, 12 years.
Do you still play Smite?
Sometimes I have my moments that I'm like, oh, I need to play Smite. Like
it's kind of a dying breed, right? Like nobody really like it's kind of a dying game, right?
I used to think that it was cool that I was one of the oldest accounts playing. I play since the alpha and the beta.
That's cool.
But then you realize that most people that are playing with you also have the little beta test image, which means they've been playing for 12 years. We're just the people that stayed.
Whoa.
Most of my players are complete children, or most of people that stayed from the time or come from periods of time. Because a lot of times I get into a match, say, hey, y'all gonna be mad with me, but I haven't played for 2 years, so I don't understand the meta right now. And somebody else like, bruh, the same. And somebody else, yeah, I just came back last week.
So it just doesn't change the game? They haven't updated it at all or anything?
No, they update. The updates are great. Right now they have a Nickelodeon Smite collab.
Whoa.
They have like a Invader Zine, XJ. I forgot the name of the robot girl from Nickelodeon.
Oh my god.
It's XJ13, XJ3, something like
I know
that.
the blue girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, but
There's
I can't remember the name.
Smite is one of the number one games of keeping your audience through skins.
I do feel like we're kind of in a transitional period from like that age of like that age of like cartoon / internet world to like the new one, right? Like I feel like we've just now hit a point, probably like 2017, 2016 was when we hit kind of like a new era in my eyes. Like I think there's been a lot, and I think that the past like 7 years have been like the fallout of our childhood things.
Yeah.
Like I mean just think about the past couple of years, dude. Like Club Penguin closing was a big one for me. Cartoon Network,
Habbo Hotel closing was huge for me and for a lot of Brazilians, because it's when we started doing private servers, and they kind of regret it, try to come back. But private servers are free. You can get there are servers that let you get as many coins as you want, so you can just cosmetically build the room you always wanted to.
What's that game?
Habbo Hotel.
Oh, I thought you said Pop Tropica. I've never heard of that. Habbo Hotel?
Yeah, let me pull it real quick. It used to be like a The Sims type game.
Are you talking? Is it like Roller Coaster Tycoon type vibes?
Kinda, but in a hotel, and it's all about like having clothes, having hairs, having like furniture. It's a game that the whole currency was to switch into furniture.
Whoa. I've seen this.
This was huge in Brazil, huge. Like when Neopets kind of died, this was like, hey, I will grab your audience. Y'all are preteens now.
This is so like symbolic of a specific time.
Bro.
Habbo Hotel.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen this before. So this was big in Brazil?
Huge. My sister and I shared an account together because you're... In Brazil, you have to put a document called CPF, which is like kind of your human ID number. Every Brazilian has a CPF. It's like your social security number. And to register in some games in Brazil, so there are no bots and no people, since games are hardly tied to financial use, you have to put your CPF when you register in the game. And my sister and I, since we were young, my parents told that we didn't have CPF because they were smart and didn't let us put our data online. But my mom allowed us to have one account under hers. So once per month, I think once every 2 months, she would buy one of the cheapest cards, and we would split between my sister and I.
Yeah.
And we would buy furniture, have our own rooms and stuff. It was really, really nice.
I remember when I was a kid, that was my first Minecraft account, was under my mom's email. And I remember she was always super concerned. Like, even though this like wasn't possible in Minecraft, she was always like, don't you dare buy something on my email account, like on Minecraft.
No, in Brazil, luckily back then, like you couldn't save cards. I think either the system was too archaic, not safe to store cards, or something in the law that you had to put your card in every single transaction. So my parents were safe. Like my sister and I wouldn't be able to buy their own stuff. But Habbo Hotel had a whole like job system. There are people that had like they made their rooms like model rooms, or they had games where if you won, you could win the paid currency. They would send you the paid currency, so it would be
like real money.
The money in the game that could only be acquired through real money. So people would make highly popular rooms like the dancing chairs game, or they would make little races or trivias that the winner would get 2-3 coins, but it was enough to buy a chair. It was enough to paint the wall of one of your houses. So it was highly popular. My sister and I wasted a lot of times on those, but we made money. We made bread.
Mm-hmm. Dude, well, I mean, that's like a whole thing now. Like, there's tons of people who, like, their living is, like, lucrative video game stuff like that. Like, there's definitely people who, like, make a living off of CSGO skins, and that's nuts to me.
There's a lot of people that understand the Steam to dollar market really well.
Steam dollars?
No, yeah, because the money in Steam you cannot really transform into real dollars.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in countries that is not as accessible. Like for example, Russia, that you can just buy an account with said dollars already in it. So that's a huge market.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Because I guess, I remember the Steam coins. I remember Steam coins being transferable amongst like other games, and then you could like buy games with them as well. It was like its own little currency in itself.
You know, Steam, there's a lot of people that I know that have like Turkish account and Brazilian accounts because the games are so much cheaper out there. And you just need to have the game for 90 days for you to be able to play any APL over the world. So a lot of people buy dated accounts. Like I was playing games with some friends, and it was so much cheaper to buy from those accounts that were like 120 days old, 200 days old, and had said game for like $4 instead of me having to pay $40 for a said game.
Yeah,
but Steam does have, fair enough, Steam has a good refund system. It does not always work, but when it works, it's great.
Is Steam still super active? Like, it's still like the main thing, right?
Yep. Epic Store is doing like a big hole in their market, but Steam's still number one.
I remember when Epic first kind of started coming up. What was Epic was like World of Warcraft Hearthstone was kind of their beginning, right?
Yep. And I think Fortnite was what got them there.
Oh, Epic is Fortnite?
Yeah, because Fortnite transactions I think go through Epic, or before the whole Apple lawsuit, it was cheaper if you bought through Epic, because Epic would make it more expensive if you bought through Apple because of the 30% tax.
Yeah.
And I think Apple won on that. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. I recently learned that Fortnite was before there was the Battle Royale game, there was like a platform version of it or a sandbox version of it or something that existed for like literally like 10 years before the Battle Royale version came out. And then Fortnite just dropped the Battle Royale version and it just like exploded. But like
PUBG was nice.
Yeah, I remember that was a big thing too when Fortnite came out. It was always like Fortnite versus PUBG. It was like I never really got into either. I was in Fortnite for a tiny bit. My roommate is Fortnite OG though. He goes really hard.
No, I used to play Fortnite on the early days, but it never caught me like this. I used to play on a dispensary that used to exist in North Hollywood. Used to call the Wake and Bake Breakfast Club.
What?
Yeah,
wait! You would play Fortnite at a dispo?
No, it was like this. Imagine a Starbucks that you can smoke weed. You pay either $5 a day, $25 a month, or you find your way to become a lifetime member. My lifetime member could go on if you tattoo your logo. There was an owl, a little green owl. So people in LA that have the green owl on their hands, probably they were part of Wake and Bake.
No,
you could buy stocks in it. My ex and I bought like 1%. It was like $2,500.
Do you still own it?
Money. It's gone. The police raided it. It was during the medical time. The guy who owns it, I won't say his name, but bro, just with all the investor money.
This is genius, though. But now this would be legal, right? There's got to be a way to make that legal now, right?
Lounges are not legal. They are legal at like
weed lounges.
Yeah, they are legal at the horrible terms. Like it's so,
really.
Yeah, no, they're really lounges. They're really try to make you feel as comfortable as possible. Like for example, there's like the Woods in West Hollywood, which is like you have to buy their product, but they allow you to go in their smoking patio, and you can only smoke inside. You have to cannot smoke blunts, no tobacco in there. It has to be either through their bongs or through paper that they provide.
Yeah,
and it's nothing.
So it's very specific.
Wake and Bake used to have like comedy nights, music nights every Thursday.
That's cool.
And every Sunday. I met people like Drake Bell, unfortunately. It was before the whole thing.
Damn.
Kiki Palmer used to be there
That's
too.
Cool.
I think there's a... what is the name of that comedian? It's something Wallace. I'm gonna remember his name. He started doing like little things at Wake and Bake, and he got really popular when Vine came out. I'm gonna see who he
Wallace?
Yeah, no, I think
Mario, do you know?
I'm gonna find out who it is. Oh, it's
Trevor Wallace.
Trevor Wallace. Yes, Trevor Wallace. Let me see if he is. Let me see if. Yep, that guy, Trevor Wallace. This guy here. He used to go to Wake and Bake and go to the comedy nights. And
that guy does not look like he would smoke weed.
I don't know if a lot of people that used to go there didn't smoke weed. They were just there because they knew the audience was good. The audience would never boo you. Never. If everything went wrong, the audience would still like find a way to make you do. There was a girl that I remember, her phone wasn't connecting, her USB wasn't doing good, and she just sang a cappella and people were just clapping, and it worked for her.
Oh, that's sweet, dude.
Wake and Bake was lit.
Well, I mean, I feel like an audience that's entirely high would be very, very chill. Like, just be very, very nice and, like, respectful, understanding.
Everybody was very supportive. Even if, like, my music was not good at the time. But
so you were performing then?
I performed, like, at times. I would used to go because it used to be a place I could smoke weed. I used to live in Burbank back then, and Burbank has, like, crazy non-smoking laws.
Yeah.
And I found Wake and Bake had a good time. So I used to, since I got the lifetime membership, and even before that, I used to pay the monthly thing. I used to go there, and there's a lot of people that are still friends to me to this day. Yeah, there's a guy. There's a music video that we just shot with two great professionals, Orion York and Joe Becken. Joe Becken was a DP, and Orion was a director. They shot a music video for Konoha, and Devante, one of the main characters, used to be a bud tender at Wake and Bake.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the friendship stayed years later, like 7-8 years.
That's such a specific, like, niche environment that I've never, like, because I just, like, dude, I just don't like weed. Like,
I'm sorry, and I'm here smoking your phone.
Oh, dude, I don't care. You're good. Literally, like, there's weed around me 24/7, 365. But I think I just don't like weed because I started smoking when I was so young. Like, I just started smoking. Like, I smoked for the first time when I was, like, 15 or, like, really young.
I used to hate weed when I was
young. And then I just don't like it. It's just not for me. But I don't know. Maybe there'll be, like, another period of my life where, like, I'll come around. But I do think it's not for everybody. But I also think, like, maybe it is for you in different times of your life, you know?
Exactly. Because, like, when I was young, especially the situation that weed was in Brazil, have you ever heard of prensado?
No.
Like, in Brazil, since weed was so hard to get a hold on, especially because I was a teenager, this is how weed looked. And
it's going to be like oregano.
Horrified. Yeah, no, you're going to be horrified, bruh. Like, and that's why I hated weed when I was in Brazil.
What the fuck is that? Looks like the food brick.
Bro, it's horrible, bro.
That is crazy. What the hell? It looks like I don't even know it. It looks like a protein bar that you like dropped in like a field, and it got a bunch of
protein bar from Snowpiercer.
Yeah,
it's the easiest comparison.
Or like rabbit food. Like you would feed this to like a rabbit.
Yo, and they wouldn't take care of the shit. So you could find like cigarette butts. You could find cockroach legs. You could find everything. You could find everything. Toothpicks.
So you'd smoke this?
No, hell no. No, I tried when I was a teenager and I hated it. So I hated weed.
Yeah.
So the thing that made me smoke weed, I had smoked with a few friends in film school, but it was like, it's okay. But there was a day that fucked me up and changed everything.
How old were you?
I was 21.
So maybe there's still hope for me.
Yeah, I was 21. I was just turning legal. My film school never told me that I had to finance every single short film that we have.
Yeah.
And we had to hire everybody legally, all permits and everything. That cost thousands of dollars. I didn't have the support system like that. I'm a Brazilian kid, bro. My parents were doing their best to feeding me while I couldn't get a job because I was a full-time student. And I decided to go to Central Casting to try to become an extra. And Central Casting has a thing that every Tuesday they accept 100 people. And people, they open the doors at 10 a.m., but people start lining up since like 6 a.m., 5:45. So I got there at 5:30. My dumbass was not prepared. Everybody had chairs, food, water, headphones, friends. I was by myself with like those shitty Apple
the wired earbuds.
That only one works, and you have to hold it in a different way for it to work. My battery was kind of shitty on my phone because it had one of those phones that went from 80 to 50 to 20 out of nowhere. I was hungry as hell because I forgot to eat because I woke up almost late. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. At 10 a.m., they opened the door. We're all going in. I'm the first loser. Bro, just say, hey, y'all, have a great time. Y'all can try it again next Tuesday. Well, the house is full, unfortunately. Yeah, I was the first loser.
That was how it worked?
Yep. And I remember I was just walking out, trying not to be too embarrassed about it. and I called an Uber. And at the time it was Uber pool, so it's like with three other people in the Uber, and I sat in the middle seat. Because, of course, the person stood out and said, come in. So I had to sit in the middle seat. And I remember I was so frustrated. And I was like, I need something to relax, man. I don't want to, like, cry off, like, frustration, you know? And I remember I seen a guy in class applying to a weed license on his phone.
So this is right after, like medical marijuana became legal?
Yeah, medical.
Okay.
It's been legal, I think, since '96, but it was so accessible around my like college time. Like there was an app called Ease.com.
Yeah, Ease is still big, right?
Yeah, Ease is delivery now.
Yeah.
And I have a great story with this, but I'll bring that later.
Yeah,
How I got like
it.
$400 of free weed in San Francisco, and it starts with the story of why I started smoking weed. So I remember this friend of mine said, go to the store, go on Ease. People leave codes in the comment. Use their codes, and you're gonna get $20 off of your license. So your license is only gonna cost $10 plus $10 extra for them to mail it to you. So I type depression. I'm really sad, and I smoked weed at a party, and it turned great. And then some doctor showed up on video, and I'm in the Uber pool with two other people by my side, and I'm taking this call.
You're like, hey, I need some.
Yeah, bro, it's so embarrassing. But then he just said, he listened to me, and he's like, great. The next page, you just need to put your credit card. No debit card, credit card, please. And then I put my credit card.
Why credit card?
I never understood why. But I put the credit card, and I had instantly a PDF.
Yeah.
And a week later, I would get the thing. But in the PDF, I ordered weed from some random place, and I ordered exactly an eighth of Skywalker OG, an eighth of Terminator OG.
Those are OGS strains.
Yeah, and a little, and Candyland by Butter Brand. Rest in peace, Butter Brand, the best brand who ever made Candyland, and they disappeared.
Yeah.
You can only know that they exist because there's one tweet that somebody posted, the Candyland by Butter Brand, and it's somebody that bought say, "Wow, this shit is incredible," or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was only specific to where you were at the time. Maybe it was like
Very
locally grown. Yeah.
Yeah, and it came with 2 house joints. I didn't know how to roll, so I took everything into a bathtub. I put a wet towel under the door and smoked half of the house joint. I remember I wrote like 2 short films in the bathtub. I didn't even make music at the time, and I wrote a song that I wanted to incorporate in a short film.
Whoa.
It unlocked so much that day that
that's so fascinating.
I found my peace with it. And that's why every time I'm doing some artistic shit, I'm always with smoking weed, because I feel it liberates me in that way.
That's so cool, dude. It is one of those really interesting things. It's like a proof that like everybody's neurochemistry is so different. Completely. Like it affects everybody entirely different. Like that's so interesting to me that like it makes you feel more creative in like every single aspect. Because for me, it just like it's weird. Like I feel like when I first started smoking, like when I was like younger, it was like it's always so fun. It was so giddy. Is like how I feel like it felt. Like it was so like just like stupid and euphoric. Yeah. And like I felt dumb, but in like a great way.
In a great way.
In a great way, right? But then it was like I don't know. I just got older, and it got to the point where I just didn't. I don't know. Now I just get anxious, and it's like, but I also think what weed's really good for, dude. A lot of the time, and people like me, is like it'll make you think about things that like you know but don't want to admit to yourself, or like things that like you consciously know that you should like confront in your life, but you're not because you're afraid of the conflict. Like for example, like if you're thinking about like like there's like a part of you that's very insecure that you could like address or attack in like some regard, but you're not doing it because that process would be very intimidating, very terrifying. It's like I think one thing that weed can do a lot of the time is like make you aware of how important it is to like get to that.
Opens a gate. It's crazy. It feels so much better when you air out like all your vulnerabilities. You have to air out to the right people though, because a lot of people will use that to exploit as an exploit to like sabotage you later in life.
Yeah.
But if you have a good support system, either a therapist or a great friend or parent, somebody that you can just like really open up to, be vulnerable. And being vulnerable while high, some people cry and that's okay. It's great though.
100%. Do you have experience with therapy?
Yes.
Did it help you a lot?
At the time we were doing, I was doing therapy because I was part of a thing called Young Storytellers or Young. a Young Storytellers Foundation, YSF, and it was film school for kids from a film school. We used to mentor kids that were like 3rd graders, 4th graders into writing a play, and a play was always about vulnerabilities. And we had people that were professionals and could talk to us, and kids wouldn't open up if we didn't open up. So it would. The first sessions, it was just us talking about like dumb shit to see if they would, the kids would open up, and they would. But after the 3rd, 4th session, you start talking about like some real stuff, because you understand you're talking to a therapist right now, and a therapist will talk to you the same way they're talking to that kid, because those therapists were really good. They were serious. They treated the kids like adults, and that's and a lot of those kids had learning disabilities, either ADHD or anything that came from being on the spectrum. And the kid that I was working with at the time was especially hard, like so hard that he was assigned 2 mentors, me and somebody else, and the therapist got a lot out of us and a lot out of him too. It was great. He wrote a great play.
I think there is so much that comes with like treating a child like an adult. I think that is like so, because it's a strange paradox though, because I think like when I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do was feel like I was taken seriously, because I feel like I've always, I don't know why, but I've always been somebody who's taken myself so seriously. And I think in the past like 6 months, like I've learned to lose that a little bit, and it's been like a very, very beautiful process. So it's like now I almost don't know if that was the correct way to be treated, treated like an adult. I think, but I do think you gotta like I feel like dealing with kids, I mean, what do I know? I've never raised a kid. But it's like, I think dealing with kids, you have to let them know that you respect them. Yeah. I think that's a huge thing.
My parents definitely treated my sisters and I like adults, but it was like a filtered way, because all of us were developing different. We were in different sides of our social life, of our growing up life. And my parents, luckily, I had great parents that knew how to address that. They never treated us like we were dumb. Yeah. Like a lot of the things in the household was through conversation. It was my parents are both artists, but they are great at just sitting down and talking their stuff out. My mom's a ballerina. My dad used to be a theater actor. I
think that's everything, dude. I think so many of like the disagreements or like the hate in this world comes from like a lack of people being able to sit down and talk to each other. Because I feel like, back to what we were saying earlier, it's like so much of hate comes from ignorance. It's like we hate things that we don't understand. So it's like we just like it's like a default emotion, But it's like, I think it's so much easier to understand people if you just sit down and have a conversation with them. We don't talk to each other like in long format anymore. I feel like I think the art of conversation is like dead, and it sucks because it's like I do feel like it's a muscle you have to exercise. It's like anything, like training your brain to be able to have like coherent conversation is scary, dude. Especially when you're like a product of like the modern generation, like myself, like somebody who grew up so online and is such a product of like their phone and social media and like video games and it's like online art circles and things like that. It's like it becomes weird to have conversations in real life, but it's something you have to practice and learn. But it's like, I just think if we talk to each other a little bit more, this world would be such a better place.
That's why we're seeing all these rises of this niche communities like VR chat, Discord chats, or like Twitter spaces. People are finding a way to especially because the pandemic kind of forced us to find other ways to socialize. Like online gaming with chat is coming at an all-time high. A lot of games have the global chat thing coming back on. I'm testing right now. I think I'm beta. It's a closed beta for a game called League of Masters. It's an auto chess game, and on the lobby has a global chat. Like it's something that brought me back so much, because games like S4 League, Guns the Duel, they had global chats, and it was so important to understand how socially everybody was moving. What was the move? What was the meta? Because especially when I was young, I didn't have the social skills. Especially if you went on a voice chat. I'm high-pitched myself, so imagine how much more high-pitched I was when I was younger. So I would enter in a voice chat, especially when I used to play like a CZ or CS Source, and people would roast me. So I had to learn slowly how not to be the little kid getting roasted. Yeah,
same thing with me when I was a kid. When I was my big game was when I was a kid was Minecraft, and I know every kid my age says that, but There's this game mode in Minecraft called Ultra Hardcore, and I was like amongst the group of people that very like popularized that game mode, and now it's like a $100,000 industry now in like Minecraft. Yeah, but I was like, it all came from Reddit. I was a fan of like these YouTubers called Mindcrack when I was a kid. This is the name, Mindcrack. It was a group of YouTubers, and they were the ones who invented this ultra hardcore kind of gameplay, and this is probably 2012, 2013. But they kind of invented this, and they made it like a tournament on YouTube, and then it was like there was a Reddit forum I was part of, and I was probably 12 at the time. And that Reddit forum, we just started organizing games of this game mode that they had invented.
What?
And then eventually, over the course of like probably 5 years, I was a part of this community. Probably from the time I was like 12 to the time I was like 16, and it grew from like literally just a Reddit forum with like at most like 100 people to like 25,000 people on this Reddit forum who were actively engaging in these games on like in Minecraft, but the games were organized through Reddit. And it was so crazy because I was always the young person like in this community. I was always like the 12-year-old who's playing with kids that were teenagers, but I genuinely cannot believe like how close I felt to some of these people that I met online. Like so incredibly close, and there's ones that I still talk to, like my friend Johnny. Shout out to Johnny. His name on Minecraft was Psyduck MC, so another Pokemon tie there. Yeah. But he was like he like became one of my best friends, and he lived in Ohio, and I've never met him like in real life, but we still talk to this day, and it was it's weird because it's like I feel like I know him better than a lot of people who I've like met in real life and spent a lot of time with in real life. But it's because we would just back in the day it was TeamSpeak. There was no Discord, so we would TeamSpeak till like 5 a.m. every single night just playing these games, and it's strange. But I do feel like I'm sure that still exists, but it's like I don't know why social media conversation feels so different than that.
That's why like almost on a daily basis I call Philip Dark my homie because like he's in the East Coast right now, and I feel that the conversations we have, it feels like the conversations I used to have back in Skype with the homies.
Yes, dude.
We're talking about nothing sometimes. He's just going throughout his day. I'm going throughout my day. Sometimes I'm driving. He's eating pizza. He's working. And I'm like editing a song. We're not in sync in that, but we're syncing the vibe. We're just talking about like what's up with us. So it's never like we never have to catch up with each other because almost if like we're like in a Skype call type shit.
That's a beautiful thing, man. I think we let those relationships grow as we get older. Like it's funny. Like I think there's something with us that like I think of friendships as kind of like plants or like flowers. Like they really have to be watered. And if you're not willing to tend to them, like I don't think they'll stay alive. But it's like, dude, it's so worth it, man. Like one of my biggest fears is like self-isolation. Like I really don't want to, as I get older, like start to isolate myself from friends or start to isolate myself from people that I love. Like that's one of my biggest fears, because I feel like when you get in this echo chamber that is your head, bad things can happen, you know?
No, shout out like the two homies that are the couch booming who I need to date, like definitely like mental like support system, like mental health for real. Like every time like shit's going bad, they're there. Like Boom, I think we know each other for like 2 years. Who needs to know also? I know her for like what, like 6-7 years something. Yeah, like so we all gone through a lot, and they've always been like by my side, like helping me and shit. Like definitely without them I couldn't. I don't think I would be like all happy, all saying and shit.
I do think as I get older, there's things like friendships that you don't like. It was interesting moving to LA, right? Because this is something I'd never really realized. When I was in school, I had so many friends. It was never like, you know, I've always been like a nice dude, friendly. It's not super hard to make friends when you're introduced to a bunch of kids that are your age on an every single day basis. Most people can make friends in that environment. It's when you like move out and you're forced to like actively make friends. Like I remember when I moved here, I felt weird about like being like, I want to be friends with that person. That felt weird, but it's like it's not at all.
Bro, tell me about that. My dad worked when he was in dad mode. He started becoming a journalist.
Cool.
That was like how we ate, and because of journalism in Brazil, every year 1 or 2 channels would say, hey, we need you. We're offering more. It was better for the family, so we were slowly getting out of poverty, and we moved school a lot. Like there are years that I've been in 2-3 schools, and just because we were moving, so I always had to make new friends. And in Brazil, there's a stigma about being the new kid. In some schools, I kind of fucked up and I just stayed in the middle. But some schools, I did great, bro. I was like, some schools, sometimes I'm kind of really grateful for having the opportunity to try so many times, because the times I succeed, and the next time I fail, understand why I succeeded the first time and not the second time. It helped me a lot to become more socially aware of myself.
Yeah.
How I portray myself to people. And the great irony is that now that I'm older, I kind of don't give a fuck. Like, I'm in the tank top with my anime shit right now. But I like at the time, it kind of saved. And at the time, Brazil was kind of like racist. Schools that I used to go, like, especially when we started, my parents started putting me in like better schools. Schools didn't allow me to have like my puffy hair and shit. They would require me to gel it back. So at the time, I had like, there was schools that would even come to my mom and suggest like, maybe he should straighten his hair. The teachers that would come in and ask, and they're like business trips that I did or jobs that I did that required me to either shave it all or straighten my hair.
What? Yeah. That's crazy. That seems so wrong. Dude, the idea of dress code in high school literally pissed me off.
Brazil's uniforms.
So much.
We had uniforms.
I hate that. I in my high school it was terrible the way that some of these women were treated. Like, I felt like I have this crazy memory from high school. Me and like all my friends at, you know, you and your homies in high school, whatever, had like your spot at lunch. You know, you'd always be in one place.
Yeah.
So when I was like a freshman and a sophomore, my little friend group, we were always like, you know, we'd hang out by like this tree in the quad, and there was this what would she be called? Not a yard duty, I guess, like a school security guard or whatever the term for that is. But she would literally like made it her personal vendetta to just like go around and like get on girls who like were not like abiding by dress code. There was literally, so we were all like by this tree one day, and this woman, she came up to one of my friends who was wearing a crop top, and she literally looked her dead in the eyes and said like, "Did your mom let you out of the house wearing that?"
Fuck.
And I was like,
harsh.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
In Brazil, I remember the shorts thing. If the shorts were not on touching your knee, because in some schools would be under the knee for the girls. They had shorts under the knees, and boys had like soccer shorts that were like, yo, my whole shit's
have your
out.
balls around.
Brazil sucked when it came to school uniforms. Hopefully they're better right now.
That's been like that's one of the dumbest things in my opinion. Like the idea that like what a woman is wearing is like a man's problem.
It's distracting to the boys.
Yeah, if it's fucking distracting, like if you're a kid in high school and like you can't focus because a girl's wearing a spaghetti strap, like you have an issue. Like that's on you, you know. Like if you're like in class like popping a stiffy because some girl has a short skirt, like you need to get help. That's not like a woman's issue.
And y'all are really free out here, because out here y'all can like choose the clothing y'all go to school with.
That's
crazy.
That's crazy. That so in Brazil that was like, it was very customary for like all schools to have uniforms.
I feel like 80% of the schools had uniforms.
Yeah.
Schools that didn't have uniforms were artistic schools and schools that were too unaffordable for my parents. My parents put me in great schools, but we got scholarships because my sister and I were really good at exams. Like, I'm not saying that we were intelligent. We were just really good at multiple choice. It was just like not easy, but we were always pass with a grade that would give us like a decent scholarship that at least my parents could afford.
Yeah, the testing thing's strange. I like how you just said, like, you know, we didn't know if we were intelligent, but like we were good at multiple choice. Do you think like grade or like the tests that we received in school were like an accurate development or an accurate gauge of like intelligence?
Corporate and specific jobs, yes. Like you can find out doctors and lawyers through school tests, but you cannot find. Some schools now you can find musicians out of there, but it's really hard. So most schools, they just follow systems that are not very artistic. In Brazil, there's a school called, I think, Waldorf, and they are like a very artsy school. Kids make their own shoes and stuff, but kids are like highly successful when they get out of that school. So I feel there's no formula. I feel that there needs to be some incentive for creative freedom to do more of yourself, even if not creative but logical. There's some kids that are great at logic. In Brazil has some like geography Olympics, math Olympics, but it's not enough. It's kind of mid.
Yeah. One of my dreams is to like start an education fund for like music schools. That's one thing I really, really, really want to do once I'm older.
That's
like one of my big dreams, man. Because it's like, dude, like, I just don't think it's stressed enough, like in like modern high school, especially like underfunded schools. Like it sucks, but it's like the first thing that gets cut when there's budget cuts at most schools is the art program or like the music program or anything like that that's not deemed like necessary.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I love what Flea has done. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the bassist, he started a music conservatory with like all of his money. I think it's so cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Phil and I have talked that one day when we're older and we're not making music anymore, hopefully we have the means to. Imagine if you could choose 10 kids that don't have the means, like maybe they're from different countries or just from really broken housing neighborhoods here, and we just give them like, hey, a year of housing, you couldn't focus on music, you don't need a job, rent's paid, you just make music.
Wow.
We want to be able to do that, but that is so much more expensive than we can reach right now. But hopefully, maybe in 10 years, I'll watch this interview and be, I made it.
I'm sure you will, bro.
Hopefully.
That's a crazy thought. I love that idea because, like, think about it. Well, it is interesting too because, like, I think like for the longest time, I feel like my whole life I've played this game of like, and then I'll be happy, or like, and then I'll be successful. Like I feel like for the longest time I was always like, you know, once I can make a little bit of money off my art, then I'll be happy. Or like once I can, like I remember, you know, when I lived in the Bay Area, the big thing was like once I get a studio, then I'll be happy. And it's just bullshit a lot of the times, you know, like a lot of the times, like the only thing happiness is coming through is from within. But I do think there is a lot of legitimacy to like having resources. I do think there's like a base level of resources that you do need to be happy. You know, it's like, it kind of goes in that question, like
Oxford said is 160,000.
Is it?
A year, yeah. That's what it takes to be happy.
That's bullshit.
It's unreachable for most of us. Who's making 160,000 a year?
Yeah, you're making a lot of money if you are. Oh, really? That's what Oxford said?
Yeah, let me see if I'm not bullshitting.
No, I believe you.
No, but I need to see if I'm not bullshitting because I'm saying this on camera. I'm pretty sure. Wait.
What an interesting idea. 106. Well,
I'm not 160,000 pounds. God damn.
Is it a pound's more than $1? It's worth a lot more than $1, right?
Not a lot more, but more. There's a Guardian article about it.
How much money makes you happy? We ask an expert. Money by happiness, ask somebody without it. Yeah. Interesting. So the well-being boost from a 20,000 pound salary moving to a 40,000 pound salary would be significant. But to achieve that again, you'd have to move from 40,000 pounds to 80,000 pounds, then 80,000 pounds to 160,000 pounds.
And then everything after that is pretty much like you don't feel. I feel 160,000 pounds for them. What this expert's saying is like the last grow is that's when you start the after game.
I don't know if I buy that.
I don't know if I buy that either. For me, the after game in my life is when I buy my parents a house because I'm only here because they raised me, they fed me, so I want to be able to give something back. And a house in the U.S. is something that is not unachievable, but I want to be able to achieve it with greatness, give them a good house, and they can relax for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and that would be a beautiful thing, of course. But do you think that's the baseline? Like, do you think like that is when money will no longer make you happy? When you get to that point?
Probably no. Probably I'm gonna. We're humans. We always find reasons for I want this, I want that, I want this. But right now, my focus for the past 10 years is making enough money to get my parents a house.
100%. It's interesting too because I feel like as you get more money, you start to think that you have nothing. Like I feel like we'll always be in this perpetual state of wanting
have more, spend more, have more, spend more.
Yeah,
it's a cycle, definitely.
Exactly, but I mean, it's weird too because like right now, like in my head, I'm like, damn, like if I was making like, you know, if I was making $100,000 a year, I'd be set. Because right now I'm living off like a lot less than that. Yeah. So it's
same.
So it's you know, like I've always thought, I guess too, I've always just thought, I've never really thought of it as a number. I've thought of it more as like once I can like not trip. Like that's like the benchmark for me has always been like when can I like just not stress or like not worry about money.
I want to be able to pay mortgage and not be like, damn, this is taking a lot of my income that I just made, or go to a gas station and fill the tank and not even care how much the gas is.
That's
I'm putting
what
good gas because I want to make my car last longer.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be able to have plans for my kids, because my sister and I are artists, but who's saying that my kids are going to be artists? Maybe they want serious jobs like doctors and lawyers, and I want to be able to give them that.
Or maybe they want to be athletes or something, you know?
Hopefully not. Because
No?
I hope that my partner has a great mental health system towards kids, because athletes, they peak in life very early, and a lot of them fall into depression. There's people that are definitely changing the stigma, like Ashley Wagner. She was a figure skater, Olympic figure skater, and she has like a great podcast now, and she brings other people in the field and she enlightens them, explains what they're doing now. There's I think Johnny Ways worked with Crunchyroll on promoting Yuri on Ice. So there's things to do, but it's a very dark place for artists to be. The 20s is scary for a lot of them.
I've never really thought about that. That is really interesting, because I think about it, right? Like, if you're like an athlete, like even the top athlete, you are peaking at like 20 about 25, 26, like that's the peak. I would imagine 27 maybe. Yeah, probably 26, 27. And then it's like, you know, like statistically, like you are going down like after that, you know, like it's just not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Your body deteriorates. It's the world. And it's weird, but I guess I've never considered that, because it's like how, you know, even if you're like a mid-level athlete, like when you get to the point where your body, like the pivot's the big thing, I feel like, for athletes, you know, like artists, I don't really believe in the idea that like there's such thing as like getting way too old to be an artist, you know, like I don't know if that's a thing anymore.
No, I don't believe that's a thing. I think that a lot of people find their stardom, like right now, how many artists in their 30s are just blowing up right now?
Yeah, totally.
I feel that the internet made it very accessible, and platforms like TikTok, as long as people can hate as much as they want, but TikTok has opened the doors for a lot of people. A lot of people can eat because of that platform now.
100%. One thing that's super interesting to me that I think about a lot is like TikTok has created like a thriving class of like middle class musicians, and that's something that I think is really cool. Because like before, it's like, I think, you know, 25 years ago, if you were a musician, you were either starving or rich as shit.
Either or.
Yeah, and there's like not a lot in between. I think there's a lot of artists in between now. Like a lot of people that make like a decent living off streaming, or just like, you know, like a passable living off streaming, or people who make a, you know, like they sell enough merch, or, you know, do whatever, or, you know, sell enough tickets to like have like a passable income off of like one facet of their music. And I think that's really, really cool, because it's like, it kind of creates this world where like more people are eating off art. I think that's really sick.
And a lot of people are being able to have their whole lives changed out of one viral moment, and they just can't keep their attention.
Yeah.
What is the name of that guy that had a jug of juice and he was just skating down to some chill music?
Oh my God, Dogface, right?
Yeah, Dogface started a whole weed company.
That was his name, right? Dogface?
Yep, he started a whole weed company, and his life looks great. Every time he shows up on my algorithm, he's happy. He's always smoking wax, because he's a wax guy. So he's always like smoking wax. He has like always like a pendant with a nug or some wax in it. He's always smoking and happy, dancing.
I love that video, bro. That's like one of my favorite like TikTok viral moments, because it was just, I do think that was one of the first videos to blow up. That it started this trend of like something just being stupid and random enough to just go absolutely viral.
To go crazy.
It's also cool. It's cool when the internet decides to make something go viral that shouldn't go viral. Like dude, the idea that like he was able to like get all this success literally because one day he posted a video of him skating with a jug to Fleetwood Mac is incomprehensible to me.
It's LOL cows. It's the whole concept of LOL cows. The internet loves that.
Yeah. Wait. The concept of what?
A lolcows. Like people like Christian, for example, is the internet tends to like sonder and tends to point at random people on the internet. They just think, oh, you live funny. Let's see how you do. Like Christian is the most documented person on the internet.
Huh.
And TikTok is a great platform to point at random people and say, oh, you're going to be a local. Like, see what happened to Bruce Frost, for example. Bruce Frost was huge on TikTok by just copying the Papi Muñaño. And then Bruce Frost started the whole Cara Frost. Like, he became a VTuber, and he was in love with his own VTuber, and TikTok just ate him up, and now he's at doing something at Rumble.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is really weird, dude. I remember that guy. He was really fucking annoying, dude. Like, that was the guy that would go in people's ears, right, and scream?
No, the Bruce Frost is like a copy of that guy.
Oh.
It was just a guy that used to be in his bedroom and going live, and he would be, Papi Muñaño. And people would donate so much.
Dude, that's like the NPC streams now.
He used to go by Arctic Thunder. He was like ahead of his time, so ahead of his time. He used to go by Arctic Thunder, and then he got banned off TikTok, and he got popular on Instagram. People convinced him to go back, and he's out. He got bullied out. TikTok is like different nowadays. TikTok bully hard.
Dude, I get bullied on TikTok sometimes. I feel like
Crazy.
I feel like people on TikTok are so much more ruthless than like people on other social media platforms.
They don't have what they feeling.
No, yeah, maybe it's because it's it's pushed to like random people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's pushed to like like the whole concept of the For You page is like meant to like appeal whatever like you're posting to like people that just haven't seen you before, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like because that they don't feel bad at all for like just randomly shitting on somebody because they don't know you.
TikTok. Sometimes I scroll through some music, and I just see some crazy people just eating them up in the comments. Like, hold this one in, don't drop this. Keep your talents hidden.
That's crazy. Keep your talents hidden is crazy to say to somebody. What was your what do you think your biggest marketing push has been for your music? Like, what do you think has like helped your music grow the most?
Online communities.
Yeah,
definitely. URL shows, Discord.
URL shows.
Yes.
What's that?
Online shows. Like, imagine like live streams where you bring a bunch of artists and a bunch of artists just perform. I performed too for Outskirts. I did my own URL back then. You can find on YouTube like Suki Birthday Bash or the 420 Fest that Heartless Collective and King Bishop did. Mm-hmm. There were so many URL shows back then.
Whoa, that's interesting. That's like a very your brand has always been like very online, right?
Chronically, like all people that follow me definitely haven't met me in real life.
Really?
Yeah. I went to the Dico Yami show this year with Juanita, and somebody approached for my first written autograph.
Oh, cool.
So that dude definitely didn't know me, but he just saw me and he was like, "Hey, do you make music?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Can I take a picture and can you sign this?" And I was like, well, why not?
Yeah, that's cool. Damn, bro, that is such a cool idea. The fact that you can have like an online fan base now.
No, it's the people most of the people that approach in the DMs are either college kids that are freshmen, or there's this guy that's been following me for years, even on my past monikers when I used to be a Katsuki. This guy called Dead Boy Ghostface. He's a graphic digital artist. He's the first person who ever drew me. The only person that I leave here on the front of my Instagram. He's been drawing me since I live on Tribute. So if you go on Tributes. So he this is the first time he drew me when I used to be Hey Akatsuki in November 1 of 2018, and he's talking about my first mixtape.
Whoa!
Yeah, I made a song with his name on the first Planet Suki tape. And we communicate. I've commissioned art from him.
Wow!
Yeah, the Piccolo cover was drawn by him.
I wanted to ask you about your art, like about all your cover arts and stuff. That's really cool. I want to ask you about your cover arts because they're all in such a very specific style. And like one thing I wanted to touch on with you for sure was like just the plethora of music that you drop because it's so often, and you're dropping so consistently, and you have so much stuff out. Like I wrote down the number. It was I counted. You put out. Where was it? I counted how many songs you put out this year. It was like 29, I believe.
No way. That's nice.
It was 29 songs this year.
Let's go.
But yeah, I want to ask you about that. So how do you like source cover art when you're dropping that consistently? Like, is it different artists, or is it like, are you doing it, some of it, or like?
I'm a big anime fan, so I like seeing my music in arc.
Yeah.
So every tape leads an arc. The Planet Suki tape leads an arc. The Safari Zone tape leads another arc. Planet Suki 2, Planet Funk. Right now, I'm doing the Brazilian funk drops for Planet Suki 3D, and every cover art is whatever I'm feeling at the time. There are feeling times that I'm watching a lot of anime, so I like that representation because there's not of a lot brown and black representation.
Yeah.
Right now, it's way more than it used to be back when I was a child, but I like contributing that. I like making my own art and putting myself like with my skin, with my hair, like something very that right now might be unique for that type of art, but in 10 years might be so common.
Yeah.
And it might be cool because it might be a reference for somebody else to draw it in the future. I also like sourcing through AI art. I like mixing.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like mixing like different platforms. I like platforms that you write code yourself. I don't write all my code myself, but I like changing the parameters, changing the settings on my own ways. There's a lot of people, a lot of Discord communities that people make it really accessible.
Yeah. How does AI art work?
Yeah. Depends. That they can be something more accessible, like Stable Diffusion or Midjourney, that you pay a certain amount per month. You drop prompts, and they give prompts, and you learn styles, styles, ways to describe it. Because on AI art, you have to be really, really, really specific. Like,
yeah.
A drawing like that, I don't know if it could be possible.
Oh yeah, I didn't even show this.
This is with the homie Philip Dark and I are Westcore. But in way AI art, that would be impossible. This is commission art.
Yeah.
He commissioned this on Fiverr, which is great. He found somebody.
Fiverr's sick.
Yeah, that did this and a few other drawings of us that was perfect. And it's really hard for AI art to achieve somebody like me. Like every time you see me drawn is not AI. But for example, the cover of Funk Proibidão, which was very specific, abstract. It's like a head with all whited out with the blood red sheets on the background. And it took me so many prompts to get there. And once I got it, I just Photoshop what else I feel I could have Photoshopped myself. And that's how I'm making the covers for most of the Planet Suki 3D right now.
Yeah, I was curious about that because it's like I imagine dropping so often. It's like sourcing something like cover art is very, very difficult.
But it takes time. It takes me like a few hours. It takes me like 2-3 hours because getting the cover art takes like an hour. But doing the whole Photoshop thing, changing stuff, changing color, changing hue, saturation, doing noise profiles, putting motion blur, or sometimes you want to duplicate something, you want to erase something, but you don't want to kill the whole thing. You want to crop in, crop out. There's a lot of things that Photoshop make it really accessible.
Yeah, Photoshop AI is blowing my mind right now. Like the
beta is crazy.
Yeah, dude. I was talking to like Mario about Photoshop AI Sky. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
They just recently like updated this tool in Photoshop where you can AI a sky, so you can like AI generate a sunset.
Can they do specific stuff? Like for example, if I put March 17th of 1995.
Oh no, but that would be incredible. But I feel like there's no way that's super far off, right?
Because there's ways to simulate. There's whole databases, there's service. Like Boom's birthday was literally yesterday. His mom gave
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the watch that he's wearing, his mom made customized to the constellation that was up on the day he was born.
Wow.
The time he was born. Yeah. So I always thought, like, can AI generate? Because there's the data out there, but we don't know if AI have been fed with sad data.
Most of AI, like all it is like it just pulling from a database somewhere, right? That's like all it really is for most of the time, right?
But from now, because of the laws and all, a lot of artists complaining, the database has to be cleared by, like, as a tighter database. Like I do believe that Midjourney has their own contracts with the images they're pulling from, because they got into like big trouble.
For what? I haven't heard about this.
Like they were definitely getting images from Getty Images, but they weren't paying because a lot of AI art was coming with the Getty logo.
That's interesting. So they were like base sourcing, like maybe the background layer or whatever they were using was like from Getty Images.
I don't think they ever said they did. I don't think they ever confirmed publicly, but it's assumed. It's assumed that they were doing it.
It's interesting. As AI expands, there's going to be this whole outreach of like laws that we're not even considering right now, you know? Like there's going to be like all these different, you know, like we haven't considered like at what point is like for example, like ChatGPT or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like if ChatGPT, if you generated one paragraph in like a 300-page book from ChatGPT, but that paragraph was from like essentially like plagiarized from another book. Like, where do copyright laws like live in that place? Like, if you AI generate something, is it like free? Like,
I don't think so. I think definitely if you publish a book and somebody say, "Nah, that's my line," you getting sued.
Yeah.
I think the judge gonna be, "Hell nah, sued."
Yeah, it's so strange. But that's all AI is, right? Like, isn't all ChatGPT is? It's just like searching the internet like extensively, and it has like this gigantic database that like sources the entire internet.
Yeah, they have their own databases, but I think it's a lot of these databases have illegal stuff in it. I think they just source until it's easier to say sorry than ask for permission. You know?
Yeah, totally. What do you think about AI music? Do you think there's ever a possibility where music like AI could fully replace like what a musician provides?
Yes and no. I think it's gonna be something different. That we're gonna. There's a market. Definitely, there's a market out there, but I don't think it's gonna replace people like us.
Did you hear the Drake song?
Isn't that Jake?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Jake just trying to make the industry aware?
Yeah.
He was afraid that was going to happen to himself.
Yeah, but it is weird because like, could you AI like?
But Jake can sing, so that's why his AI was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Bro is like an extremely good singer.
It is interesting that like theoretically people who were more traditionally good, like we're getting or like more like people who are like traditionally better singers can like be AI generated in an easier way.
Oh no, the Vocaloid has like also a great AI system. Have you heard of Vocaloid AI?
No.
Even like Porter Robinson released
Oh, I did. Oh, dude, that was Human Song.
Yep.
That was nuts.
Yeah, I have it. I just haven't got really good at it because I don't have time to really practice it. But it's very accessible.
Can you explain how that works?
You type syllables.
Yeah.
And you can choose what key the syllable is. There's voices, so you can buy more voice actors. There's two types of Vocaloids. Vocaloid, the traditional one, and Vocaloid AI. Vocaloid AI, you can write not whole sentences, but like shorter sentences. It will predict the syllables for you.
So wait, so that song "Human Songs" by Porter Robinson, that was made
all AI, all Vocaloid AI.
Nuts,
crazy.
Dude.
It has so human input. It has human input. It was written by him. Though.
So the lyrics were written by him?
The lyrics have to be written by you. It doesn't generate lyrics for you. It generates
melodies
the singing.
Okay.
So it's a whole person singing, and it's really good. If you really find the right syllables in the right key, you can barely tell.
Did he import the melodies, or does he generate the melodies for you?
He worked with Yamaha.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And they created a pack together.
That's so nuts.
That's how I got the Vocaloid, because it was his pack plus a Vocaloid, and I bought both together.
He's another guy whose brand I feel like is super online. Like Porter Robinson's whole brand. Like I feel like there are certain musicians who I feel like when we expand into AI, like their brands will just work with it. Like I feel like Porter Robinson's like one of those guys.
He's already doing it.
Yeah.
He's like Secret Sky had a lot of people that NFT and AI community in it, and he super embraced it. Or like even like places like Rolling Loud. I have a friend that has like a Loud Punk, and this year I was only able to go to Rolling Loud because he bought a Loud Punks after he had bought a GA ticket.
Yeah.
And he took me and a friend to Rolling Loud. And on the first day, we were walking to Rolling Loud, and we find a VIP bracelet on the floor. And it was untightened. I just put my arm and went in. I enjoyed VIP. Like this tattoo here, bad, was from Rolling Loud.
Wow, that's crazy. Dude, your tats are sick.
Thank you. It's like the original Digivice. I have Azuma's lighter from Naruto's head. I have a Mew. I have a Slow.
I love the Mew.
A Slowbro. Half of the Portal logo, the other half is on the side.
Oh, that's so cool! I forgot about Portal.
I
love the Venusaur. Is it a Venusaur or Bulbasaur? It looks like
Ivysaur.
Venusaur. It's Ivysaur. I mean, yeah.
Ivysaur, Pokeball, Vacation Pikachu, Towley,
cool.
Owl. The other side of the portal, a Squirtle, Gang Squirtle,
and
I love
Felix
the cat.
I love this game, the Gang Squirtle, bro.
Yeah, I think these are all my tattoos.
That's sick. What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is my Digivice.
Nice.
Definitely, because it took me a few like trying to find it, like trying to find people, artists were like, oh, it's gonna be too small, the details are gonna fade out. And this guy called Manny from NoHo Ink Sessions, shout out to him. He did most of my tats, and this was him. He just looked at it, he's like, bet you want to come here Thursday and we did it.
What? That
Yeah.
seems so specific. It's crazy that he was able to do it that quickly.
30 minutes, 40 minutes. We were talking the whole time, and look at it. It's so detailed, bro.
Yeah, so detailed.
Yeah.
Damn, that's sick, bro.
Bro is really talented.
Do you, in like the next 5 years, where do you want to be musically? Like, what's your biggest goal in the next 5 years?
I want to be able to make music not for necessity. I want to be able to make music just because something is hitting me. I'm like just an inspiration. Like, 'cause right now I work as a sound engineer as well, and it's something that I'm trying to quit, just because I feel that I give a lot of my creativity to other people that pay to have me written out of their songs, because that's how the industry works.
Yeah.
So I want to find like a more non-music job that pays around the same, because it's not like I get paid fantastically.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to focus all my music energy into my stuff.
I love that. So music won't be your like primary source of income then.
Yeah, because it is now, but it's not my music. It's
Yeah.
music that I do for other people. I write, I engineer,
Yeah,
produce.
Interesting. I love that, man. I think like that's a good way to make sure your art would be just purely you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think like if you existed in a world where it's like, I've actually talked to other people about that, like not wanting to make your art like your biggest financial like income, like not wanting to like make all that money from your art. And it seems paradoxical, right? But it's like when you make money from your art, like automatically, there's no way that it's gonna remain untainted. It's just impossible. You know, there's like ways that you can move around it, of course, but it's like money will always be, even if it's just 1% of it,
Yeah.
it will always exist. You know, it's like it automatically changes the way that you look at it. There's no way that it can't.
The one thing that has helped me a lot, Spotify has the merch tab now with Shopify and stuff, and I'm working with a company called Custom Cat, and we have a merch on demand, and I drop merch very quietly. On A18 Day, it was like August 18. I always make A18 Day. Always drop something
Cool.
like either a music video, merch drop. I dropped a lot of things this year, even a feature with the homie, and I was not expecting to have any merch sales. I was expecting to have like 2, 3, and I'm almost at 50 right now, and it's really nice because it helps with bills.
Yeah,
it helps with like food, especially helping feeding my cat Mamacita, because like the
Fire name.
like first rent, then Mamacita's food and litter, and then my stuff.
Shout out
That's-
Mamacita, man. That's fire.
I adopted her from ASPCA, and she
Cool.
already was named Mamacita. She was I was gonna just foster her at first, and she was labeled as like a angry cat heart, antisocial heart to deal with people. Bruh, she's the homie.
Yeah.
Even though you see this band-aid,
Oh,
I was playing with her.
Mamacita.
And I didn't cut her nails, so my mistake.
That's selfless, bro. I love your attitude, man. I think you have a very selfless and beautiful way of looking at the world. It's very
Thank you.
inspiring.
Thank you.
Of course, brother.
It's
of course.
probably my parents. My parents raised me that way because my head is definitely a lot of their teaching and the way they see
Yeah.
life. They are very non-judging people. They are artists, so they accept everybody. And when I felt that whenever I had my spikes of intolerance when I was a teenager, were shut down real quick by logic by my parents. They're like, why you don't like this? Why are you implicating with this? And if I didn't have a reason, why was I even putting the energy into disliking something?
I love that because they like critically made you. It sounds like they were great parents. That is a very, very interesting thing. Like, can
Shout
you
out
make
to
your
them.
Can you make your child think critically about something?
My parents are like, they put a standards on like marriage and a couple that is crazy for me, because they met in New York through a friend, and 3 months later they were living together. 8 months later they were married. Never seen them fighting. Never seen them yell at each
Wow.
other. They've yelled at me because I was like a terrible teenager.
Yeah.
But I never seen that anger in the household.
I love that, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Hell yeah, appreciate you, bro. This is it's fantastic, man. It's very freeing. It's amazing, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you for reaching out. I feel like we could talk for like literally hours on hours. I'd love to have you on again soon. That was a lot of fun.
I would love to maybe connect you with like a different artist also to bring them here, because
Dude, please.
there's so many, like that motherfucker right there in the couch.
Please,
this
dude,
motherfucker
yeah.
in the poster. There's so many people that I've been working with. Like that. Shout out also to Noah Wolf and Tielis that putting me on, like keeping the algorithm. Kid Judo too. Like there's so many artists in this side of the corner of the internet. They're doing their unique shit right now, especially this like also like future coffins, like artists that really pay attention on how the algorithm goes.
I would really, really, really love that. Could you send me a list?
Yeah, shit.
That'd be amazing, dude. And I'm serious. Like, I'd love to have you on again. Bro.
No, hell yeah, bro. I would just tell me and I'll pull up because this is freeing. This is great. Like, it's the first time I'm doing like a big interview like this, and bro, it just felt so good.
Amazing. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. It was cool how you reached out. Just a cold email.
Yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, I just sent a long ass email.
Yeah, it was heartfelt. I loved it, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, yeah.
All right, brother.
Send your email too if you want to get interviewed, bro.
Yes.
I got here because I reached out, so you reach out too. Shit.
Reach out. Shoot your shot.
Mhm.
I shoot a million shots a day, so we will never judge anybody who does the same.
You miss all the shots that you don't take, Michael Scott.
100.
Yeah.
Tell them where they could listen to you. Tell them where they could stream your stuff, buy merch on the Spotify merch shelf, as you were talking about. Follow you, do
Yeah.
all the things.
Let me see if I have I think I have a QR code on me, so I'll hold it and they can get to the merch store. But you can find
Oh,
A18
hell yeah.
Suki anywhere. Just put A18 like the area code and Suki SUKI, and you can find music on YouTube, Apple Music, on VK, on hopefully on all platforms that you listen music to, even Cloud Music. Oh, I have the QR code. So wait, where'd that
Whoa,
point?
that's smart.
Yeah, so it usually, maybe in a few years, and it's not gonna be going to my merch store, but right now it's the merch store.
Is that what it pulls up?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oops.
Am I shaking too much?
Wait, no, I got it. There we go. That's cool. Damn, those are sick.
Yeah, no, I like, whenever I travel, I like living in some places. So, hey, I get some clicks from places that I'm not from. You feel me?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out to Philip Dark because he made this bag. Like
Oh,
this.
shut up, Up Dark.
Everything that I wear that has his dark logo, it's him. His dreams are real kids. That's his brand.
Oh, that's a sick
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he even like he has a song called Vegeta, and he got me this Vegeta clock, bro. It's like you like Dragon Ball,
I've never really gotten into it.
bro. Like the details in this clock, bro. This is like, I don't understand, bro. Look at this. Look at the details, bro.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's so nice. So shout out to Phil for that, bro.
What a good friend.
Bro, he's the friend. That we're like, that's not why we're splitting the poster. We're
Yeah.
like, we complete each other, bro. He's like,
I love that.
he's the ski to my ex. You feel me?
Oh, I love that, bro. I love that.
Or I'm the ski to his ex, bro. It's like it's that shit
amazing.
is that Freddy Krueger and Jason shit. You feel me?
Shout out. All right, though, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Hell yeah, bro. I appreciate you. Bro.
All right,
This is wonderful, bro.
Hell yeah. We'll do it again soon.
Hell yeah, bro. I hope I see y'all soon, bro.
100%. All right. Thank you, man. Music matters.
Adios. Music matters.